Yes people, hope everyone is good. In this video, I'm going to talk about how I ended up spending a year living on a traveller's camp. Now this was when I was in my mid-20s, 25, 26 I think, something like that. I'd just started my first business. So that was a market stall and I used to travel all around the country selling CDs, videos, DVDs, all that kind of thing. So during a lot of the winter months, I'd spend them in the cities, the city centres, doing all the big markets there on the runs up to Christmas. But then in the summer, I'd do a lot of the coastal markets, especially in North Wales. It's a business that my dad had built up over the years, so I learnt it from him. He then moved on to open shops and a warehouse and onto bigger things, and I ended up setting up on my own doing the markets. So during the summertime, I'd do markets like Prestatyn, Rhyl, Colwyn Bay, all of the main market towns on the north coast of Wales, right the way up to Anglesey. So there were markets pretty much every day of the week during the summer, and back then they were big tourist destinations, not like now where the tourist industry in North Wales is, tiny compared to what it was. Especially after COVID, it's almost killed it off completely. But back then, you still used to get tons of people going on holiday there. So it was really, the markets used to get really, really busy for all the holiday makers going there looking for a bargain. So you used to do really well there. On the Prestatyn market, my stall was opposite a lad called Jimmy, and he was a travelling lad, and I ended up becoming really close friends with Jimmy, and he was one of four brothers, and through Jimmy I ended up meeting his brother Matthew, and then his younger brother Frankie wasn't quite old enough to work for himself and set his own business up, because majority of travellers, well, all travellers really, they don't work for other people, they work for themselves. So market stalls, cutting trees down. They have all sorts of jobs that they do, but it's always a self-employed business when they get to a certain age. So Frankie was a bit young for that, so he used to spend a lot of his time working on Jimmy's market stall or helping his brother Matthew out, who used to chop trees down and do landscaping and things like that. But when there was no work available, he used to come with me and I used to give him a bit of work. So I became friendly with the whole family, and to such a point where I used to go down for the weekend, spend it with Jimmy, and we used to go out for a drink, through round the bars in Rhyl and in Prestatyn. It was really good fun actually. And they were long days when because I used to be travelling down from Manchester. I lived in Salford, so I'd travel in the morning, sort of 2 hours to get to Prestatyn Market, and then it'd be another at least 2 hours to get home, and it was worse than that a lot of the time because the traffic was horrendous on the motorway on the way home. So sometimes you could be getting back at like 10, 11 o'clock at night. It was horrible. So what Jimmy's family used to do, they lived really close to the market. So his mum and dad used to invite me for dinner when it was the market days. So I used to go for, after the market, I used to go eat with them, have my meal. Jimmy also played golf, and there was a really nice golf course, a links golf course, up on the mountains on the coast road, going back from Prestatyn to Manchester. So many times we used to go and have a round of golf, or do 9 holes, something like that. So I'd miss the traffic, and then I could go back with sort of free flowing traffic. Anyway, this went on for a couple of months, and I kind of was getting fed up of the travelling. So I was chatting to Jimmy about this. He's like, why don't you just get a caravan and come down here? And I'm thinking, well, where could I put it? What am I going to do? Like find a farmer's field or something? He says, I'll tell you what, I'll get my dad to have a word with Jeff, who was the guy who owned the Travellers site. Jimmy and his family had a house. They'd bought a house which was actually backed on to where the Travellers site was. There were 3 or 4 houses all in a row, and all the family had sort of bought that plot of land and built houses on them. But then there was a Travellers site that was owned by one of the guys that was behind that, where travellers used to just come and go, bring the caravans or trailers as they call them, and some of them would stay there indefinitely, some of them would stay there for a month, some of them would stay there for 6 months. It just depends. There was chalets on there as well that were permanent. So he said, I'll tell you what, I'll get my dad to have a word and see if we can because I'll be able to get you a cheap caravan, he said, and if we can get you on the site, it's next to nothing, the rent. and you get electric, you get a toilet. So I said, well, look into it and we'll see. Anyway, a week later, it sorted me out a caravan, it sorted me out a plot on the site, and it was all organised, so it was a no-brainer really. So I packed up shop, packed up all my stuff from Manchester, got it all in the back of the van, and moved into a caravan. And it was the best decision I could have ever made. I had such a good time and it was just right at the start of the summer as well. Honestly, I was really good mates with all these, with the four brothers, and I became friends with all the other lads in the local area. There was a local pub that we all used to go to every night. Everyone was there, everyone knew each other. It was real good fun. Honestly, it was probably one of the best times of my life. And one thing I'll say about travelling people is they're the most loyalist people I've ever met. If you're in with them and friendly with them, they will back you to the absolute hilt. Honestly, that family treat me like their son. They treat me like I was part of the family. Honestly, I've never known anything like it. And I tried to do the same as well. Like, for example, one of the grandparents died, and so I said to Jimmy, look, I'll look after your market stall. You take a bit of time off. I'll take your gear. I'll set it up. I'll do the takings, and I'll, whatever you make, it obviously is yours. I'll just run both, because it was really easy for me to do, because his stall was directly opposite mine. So it was just a bit of extra work for me in the morning to set him up, and then I could just stand in between the two and work the two stalls. So I did that for a couple of weeks for him. So that helped him out. But as I say, it was like being part of the family. Honestly, they're such lovely people. I can't sing their praises enough. Very religious people, and just good people in general. And actually, when it got to the end of the summer, usually I would start working the town markets then. So I'd work the big markets in and around Manchester, Bolton, Bury, all those big markets. But I decided not to do that. Even though the markets around Prestatyn and North Wales really went poor when it got to the end of the summer, I decided to start working with the travelling lads. So they had all different jobs. So some of them would do, plastic guttering, plastic fascias. I learnt that. Some of them would do trees. Matthew, one of the brothers, he was a landscaper, so I learnt that. And I just would go partner up with, the lads, painting and decorating. One of the other lads did that. And we just, I'd do different things, and I'd just partner up. We'd just go around getting jobs. Same as what you see travelling lads doing these days. They'll just go canvassing doors, door to door, see if there's anybody who wants any trees chopping down or any landscaping done, or plastic, things like that. And I just did that, and it was great. It was the freedom of that sort of lifestyle. And every night there'd be barbecues going on the on the site. The lad next door to me, he just got married, so him and his missus were sort of all loved up, and he'd be out cooking barbecue every night, having it. It's like a party every night. It was really good. It's such good fun. So yeah, that was the summer or the year that I spent on a campsite. I've got loads and loads of other stories about the travellers and things that happened. I will tell all them stories, but for now, that's just how I ended up living on a traveller's site for a year. So hope that was interesting, and thanks for coming. Catch you all soon. Take care.